Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the fifth edition of our event, The Voice of Heart, of our server Study Angel, and I would like to express my warm thanks to everyone for being present here. Presence be focusing more on rehabilitation than the punishment itself. The format of the debate is split into 5 rounds in total. We will have an opening statement round, a rebuttal round, a cross-examination round, a closing statement round, and the last round, audience Q&A. We have two teams, Team 1 consisting of Purnendra, Tamajid, and Ali Javed, Team 2 consisting of Ayush, Aditya, and Anoop. So, without any delay, I would like to start. Excuse me.
Carry on.
So, without any delay, I would like to start the debate, the opening statement round, and I would like to invite Team 2 to present their opening statement round first.
So, the topic at hand, whether our prison should focus more on rehabilitation or punishment. I believe that punishment is necessary consequence for criminal behavior. It is a way to hold offender accountable for their action and send a message to society that crime will not be tolerated. The reality is that individuals commit heinous crimes that are beyond rehabilitations, such as serial killers, rapists, and terrorists. These individuals pose a significant threat to society, and the only way to protect the public is by punishing them accordingly. I want to give an example that helps explain why I disagree with the idea that prisons should focus more on rehabilitating criminals than punishing them. In 2013, a man named Ariel Castro was found guilty of kidnapping, raping, and holding three women captive for over 10 years. The thing he did was so bad that it was clear he could not be fixed or made better. He was given a life sentence in prison plus an extra 1,000 years. Some people are just too dangerous to be around others. And the only fair punishment is to keep them locked up forever. Thank you.
That was well presented, but that was from Team 1. So I would like the participants from Team 2, that is consisting of Ayush and Aditya and Anoop. So any one of you would like to present your opening statement?
Yeah, I would present first. Good
Okay,
afternoon,
go ahead.
everyone. I am representing my team in favor of today's topic. Prison should focus more on rehabilitation than punishment. In critically acclaimed The Shawshank Redemption, Brooks Halton, the librarian, was released after 50 years in prison. He hangs himself even after getting a job in the outside world. Even though Brooks is given a second chance when he is let out on parole, he can't adjust to his new role in the world. This states the need of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation reduces recidivism. When prisoners are given the skills and tools they need to succeed upon release, they are less likely to reoffend. This means lower rate of crime and a safer society. Secondly, punishment can be dehumanizing. Incarceration is inherently a form of punishment, but too much focus on punishment can lead to inhumane treatment of prisoners. This can cause psychological harm and make rehabilitation more difficult. Thirdly, rehabilitation can benefit society as a whole. When prisoners are successfully rehabilitated, they can become productive members of society. This can have positive ripple effects such as reducing poverty and increasing economic stability. Fourthly, punishment is often not effective. Many prisoners who are punished simply become more hardened and resentful after their term. Rehabilitation, on the other hand, can help address the root causes of criminal behavior and promote positive change. Considering all the above facts and statements, it's clear by focusing more on rehabilitation than retribution, the criminal justice system will be doing more than just putting criminals waste. as it makes it possible to actively identify factors that could have encouraged these criminals to undertake their deviant ways. So, yes, I strongly agree that rehabilitation should be focused by prisons more than punishment. Thank you.
That was well presented. And that is the end of our opening statement round. Now we move forward to our second round, that is rebuttal round. And I would like to invite team one first to give their rebuttal statements. So team Purnendra.
Okay, I am against the statements which Alok right now said that too much punishments should not be given. So, what do you want to say for the serial killers? Serial killers who killed 60, not 60, but 6 to 7 peoples. And what do you think they will rehabilitate? What if they kill there also? What if they kill in the rehabilitation center? They kill our nurse, they kill our doctor. What do you want to say to it? And the other point he said, they can increase productivity. Yes, they are intelligent people. That's why they are a serial killers. They're genius people. If talking to them, you will never got to know that they are even a psychic disorder or something. But they are a legit killer. So I am strictly against what he said. Yes, that's it. But that's my statement. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now we would move forward to team two. So any rebuttal to that?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I want to say a very interesting statement coming from the opposite team. So first of all, they said it is a necessary way. So I don't think it is a necessary way to punish whole community of the prisoners because of the one person who commit the crime of holding women or everything that represented by the other team. Actually, there are 10 million prisoners across the world, and in alone in USA it is about 2 2.2 million people who are incarcerated. So, and the amount spent on these prisoners are 80 billion dollars, which are too much. And it is every year, it is every year which every year they spend 80 billion dollars on these prisoners. And secondly, he said that this is to send a message to the world. Actually, it is a very inhuman way to send a message to the world. Actually, sometimes even in the prisoners in the prisons, they are face very brutal things like castration, which is very inhumanly act, which is performed to animals. Castration is like they are not evils; they are humans to perform castration. Like jails are conducted a message that you are a piece of garbage. Everyone should consider this statement. Everyone will feel demotivated by listening this statement that you are a piece of garbage. I don't think it is right to portray that the human is a piece of garbage. Like, and Purendra said that serial killers and all, actually it is depend on the mental health. Like, just he said that it is a disorder. So rehabilitation help the person to reorganize his life. And if punishment are taken, they are more mentally disturbed than they used to while performing the crime. So it is I think rehabilitation is to make a better citizens than to the criminals, and punishment make better criminals as their mental conditions become worse and they perform even more worse crimes. So this is what I want to say.
Okay. So that concludes our round two, that is rebuttal round. We would move forward to our cross-examination round. One participant from each team is allowed to speak in this round. Uh, the time limit for this round is 15 minutes, so you can counter each other in these 15 minutes. And if another participant of the same team wants to speak, they can text the person who is speaking. So I would like to invite the team one to announce their participant. in this round?
For this round, I want to give our participant, which is Bakshi. He will counter the statements given by the opponents.
Okay. So, who will be the participant from team two?
I'll be the participant from team two in round three.
Do both the teams agree with the participants that you have?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So, team one, you shall start the questions. Like what they said in the rebuttal round and the opening statement. Team one, you can start asking the questions to team two.
Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, I want to thank the organizer for choose this topic, and now I want to raise some question that I heard from the team two statement that they say that the punishment sorry, the rehabilitation more cost effective than the punishment. How you can justify this? That uh, please elaborate on that manner.
Okay, so first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm representing my team in round three. Answering to my very well learned opponent's question. Firstly, let me clear if I'm audible. Am I?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So, answering to your question, as you said, how is rehabilitation effective? See, there are three types of rehabilitation, according to me. The first one is psychological, the second one is occupation based, and the third one is education based. If you talk about the first two types, almost 70% of the criminals are from the first two categories. Either they have a psychological disorder, whatever it is, they might be, having some psychological disorder in their past. And the second one is occupation based. They are not employed in their real life, due to which they turned out to be criminals due to the financial instability. So these two type of criminals, the first one, psychological criminals, can definitely be treated in the prison in a very cost effective manner instead of directly hanging them. Firstly, let them understand what mistake they have committed in their life. And secondly, the occupation based I was talking about. See, if you look, for example, a certain prison, there will be at least 100 prisoners in that prison. If those out of those 100 prisoners, 90 are not that guilty. So if that 90 prisoners work together day and night, they might be provided any work in the prison itself, in the boundary itself. If they work together, they can definitely create something which might be useful for the economic development of that prison, of that region, and maybe of that country as well. So I think definitely, if you look at the rehabilitation, it might not be that cost effective, but it definitely, if all the prisoners come together and they, if work together, it can definitely lead to the development of that particular prison or of that particular region.
Um, okay. So now I want to ask my opponent friend raised that they want to simplify that, like the some brutal murders, yeah, some brutal crimes. How you can justify this? Like I want to raise question from about the some serious crime like a rape, the child abuse, and the scam and the terrorist attack. How you can just justify that you can rehabilitate those criminals? And like in India and the most of the country, the justice delay is the most problem. So after that, the justice comes, and then if you are not able to arrange the proper punishment system, and how you can justify, how you can focus to the society that it is the actual punishment. If you do that, you have to face this thing. Is it not right way? Like any crime, any murder, it is not only a murder. It is a murder of. It is what if the it is the only one the earning person in a family, only one the earning person, yeah, only one the homemaker in a family, and after that the if family, it is a family loss, right? And the emotional loss, and the it is a it creates a vacuum. And how you feel this? to if like human mind is like that, it is a very changeable variable, and maybe a criminal can think that okay, they feel guilty, but sometimes and the time and situation passes, and think that any something happens, how you can ensure that he or she not think about that and not think about the justify their crimes. Okay, that like you guys obviously know about the famous the heart killer, the
I
heart
got your
murder.
question. I got your question. I got your question. What you're trying to say. Firstly, I would like to state that it's not necessary that each and every country has a very well effective judicial system, even including India. If you look at Nirbhaya rape case, the most heinous crime that was committed, according to me, even in India, I agree that those were rapists and they have committed a crime. But there was a rapist among all them named as Pavan Gupta, who, according to the forensic reports, was not innocent. Like his 7 samples were not found out. Still, he was hanged. Okay, I'm not saying that he's completely innocent, but still he was hanged. So in such a similar way, each and every country doesn't have that effective judicial system. Even India, like a developed country like India, if India is punishing such criminals who have not actually been proven scientifically guilty, then too they're hanging them. Then I don't think like the underdeveloped countries in Africa continent, they might be having that effective judicial system. Second point, as you said, if you look at the EW statistics, it shows clearly that in United Kingdoms, the sexual offenses rose by 22% in 2015. In 2015, in United Kingdoms, almost 1,83,000 sexual offenses were committed, including rape, including anything, whatever it is. 1,83,000 sexual offenses were committed. 22%, the rise was about 22%. And out of this, the person were not proven guilty in 67,000 cases. Out of those 1,83,000 cases, in 67,000 cases, there was no clear evidence that that person has committed that that particular crime. Still, he was hanged. Okay, without any reason, without even asking him, without even proving him scientifically guilty, he was directly hanged without even asking him. Thirdly, I would like to add the name of two movies which come to my mind. The first one is web series Criminal Justice Season 1, and the second one is Dammer. If you look at both of these series, in Criminal Justice Season 1, the lead actor commits a rape. He doesn't actually commit a rape. There is some other person who commits the rape, but the lead actor is accused of committing a rape and he's imprisoned for 6 years. Okay, 6 years. Just mind my words. He's imprisoned for 6 years for no reason. He hadn't even molested that girl. Still, he was imprisoned for 6 years. You know what happened in that 6 years? The after he was imprisoned for 6 years, he was not given proper facilities. He was into a bad group of criminals, all those criminals who had committed a crime, who had actually committed a crime in their past. So as he entered in that group, at the end of the 6th year, when he was about to be released, he actually murdered a person in the jail itself. That means he actually became a criminal. So if that person, if the lead actor might have been given proper facilities, health facilities, mental health facilities, proper rehabilitation, that's what I'm talking about, that murder won't have been happened and he might not have turned out to be actual criminal. Talking about the Dahmer series I'm talking about, it's based on a true story. Dahmer was basically a serial killer in USA. So he had murdered around 7 people. But you know what USA did when he was caught? USA didn't hang him. USA hanged him after 8 years. For the first 8 years, he was made understand what he actually did. What he was actually doing was because of the social anxiety that he had from his childhood. He didn't have had proper education. He didn't have had proper parenting. He didn't have had proper medical facilities. All this combined up, and hence he committed those 8 murders. I agree that he was wrong. I'm not saying he was completely correct. But the reason why he committed those 8 murders was the lack of proper education and proper parenting in the childhood itself. So the US government first made him understand what mistake has he actually committed in his past. The day he understood his mistake, he regretted what he has done. After 7 years, he understood his mistake. You can see the series if you want to. He regretted, and according to me, hanging a criminal is not the biggest achievement for the judicial system of the country. Regret, according to me, is the biggest we can say punishment. If a person regrets what he or she has done in the past, that's the biggest punishment. So you can clearly see if the US judicial system can wait him to be hanged for 8 years and first make him understand what he has committed, then even all the other countries' judicial system can. So it's definitely clear that even though a person commits a crime which is not, which is very offensive, like for example, rape, he or she should be made first understand by rehabilitation why he or she has committed a rape in his or her past. There might be a certain reason. And then after he regrets that, the necessary punishment should be implemented by the law of that particular country. That's what my answer for Bakshi's question is.
Okay. Now I want to counter on that point that do you know the how the justice decided the for the rape and the child abuse? Like, so it is really difficult to find that how the crimes goes on. Yes, it is really difficult to find the evidence in forensic also. And many of times, like there is famous Me Too movement, and after that, it is really difficult to find is it really happens or not, and why do you draw the line? Okay, so the justice really depends on that. The many of developed countries, the yes and no consent. So it is the main thing. So without the punishment, how you can justify it, how you can say, how, why you can draw the line, and how you can say that without consent you can't do anything. Yeah, and when the mindset of the criminal, they can think now, okay, so this is the consent, yes or no, and this is not a consent, and without consent this happened, and with consent this happened. And if there is no tough barrier, then it is easy. Then they, okay, whatever happens, they can face. And what if they psychic and their mentality, you can't read the mind of a human, okay, and it's really difficult to change the mentality, and I can say that there is lots of time if how many of years you can give to them, but at the end of the day, they, and if you think from yourself also, yes, your pastimes for your some guilty, you find yourself for something, you find yourself guilty, but now you can justify that you are not doing wrong thing enough in that time, and for the time and the situation, uh, they can justify themselves that it is not wrong enough. They don't
I got
do
you.
wrong, and how you can justify that? Some days ago, we hear the news, and this is really shocking that a 10 years old boy that doing a rape with their classmate in India actually, and like so.
Let me counter first so that it will be a bit effective. Talking about that 10-year-old guy who raped, the same situation had happened in USA a few years ago where a 12-year-old boy even had raped an innocent girl. I know it's wrong, but just imagine yourself in that situation. You are actually providing justice to that guy. Okay, you are the judge. So wouldn't you at least try to understand why he has committed that crime? There might be a certain reason. There wasn't proper parenting. If we look at all of us who are present in the debate, we all had proper education. We all know what consent actually is. We all know what harm actually is. We have had proper parenting. We have had proper economical background. If you look at that guy, I read that story in the paper, the US guy I'm talking about, he was a stray guy. He didn't have had parents. He didn't have had education. And that was the reason he indulged into bad activities. He indulged into bad groups. He started robbing at different places. And then after, he raped. But the US judicial system didn't hang him directly. Obviously, it was the juvenile system. So juvenile system has different rules and regulations in different countries. But there, for at least 7 years, firstly, he was rehabilitated. Secondly, it was made clear why he actually committed the rape. And after 7 years, the hearing was carried out in the court itself, where he himself confessed that yes, I have raped, and he was regretting that thing. So it clearly states that regret is the biggest punishment for any criminal, and that can be brought only by rehabilitation. Secondly, stating some stats for your question, if you look at the Norway country, you might be knowing Norway. So they basically focus more on rehabilitation rather than just giving random punishment. If you look at India, they just give random punishment, but Norway doesn't. So in Norway, before this system was introduced, before the introduction of rehabilitation system, almost 20%, sorry, after the introduction of rehabilitation in Norway country, there was 20% drop in recidivism in just 2 years. As soon as this system, as soon as the rehabilitation system was introduced in the prisons of Norway, there was 20% drop in recidivism in just 2 years, and almost 25% drop in the same recidivism after just 5 years. So we definitely can see how rehabilitation is a bit, important. Talking about the next statistic, if you look at England and Wales, these both are countries in United Kingdoms. If you look at the both of these countries, the offending rates before, okay, just listen to me carefully, the re-offending rates before the introduction of rehabilitation in the prisons was almost 29%. Okay, the re-offending rate. What is a re-offending rate? For example, if a certain criminal gets imprisoned and after he comes out from the prison, the rate of him or her committing the crime is known as a re-offending rate. So before the introduction of rehabilitation rates in England and Wales, both of these countries, the re-offending rate was 29%. But as soon as the rehabilitation was introduced, this rate drastically reduced to 14%. That means out of 100, only 14 prisoners, when they came out of prison, they were only committed the crime. But before, 29 people were committed the crime. So we can clearly see how the statistics have improved. And if you look at the general statistics as well, I have one more stat. 80% of the cause of murders and such kind of crimes in the Western countries, the main reason behind those crimes is alcohol, drug abuse, and lack of opportunity. If all of these facilities, if all of this education, if all the proper parenting is provided to all those people who are actually committed crime in today's date, they might have not done those drug overdose, they might have not consumed those alcohol, and they might have definitely not committed the crime. Even 37% of the mental even 37% of the prisoners in Western countries have mental disorders. They might be having any mental disorder, social
But
anxiety, or
after that,
whatever the mental disorders are.
sorry
Yeah.
to say, but
Okay.
after that, you can't justify that. You can justify the murder and whatever the alcoholic thing, that drug issue,
So
and
does this mean that
the parenting issue. But after that, you can't justify the child
no?
abuse,
But does this
the
mean that
rape
does
thing,
this
the
mean
terrorist
that you
thing
will
also.
no? But
How
does
can you
this mean that you will
justify that
okay? I'll
there
explain
is
the
a
terrorist
proven,
point.
yeah,
I'll
there
explain
is
the
a
terrorist
proven
point. I have a
proven
clear point.
fact that
Yeah, I'll explain
punishment
the
can
terrorist point. Do you
act
know the
as
exact
a warning
direction?
to
Let
others.
me
Wait, let me finish. Punishment
okay,
can
go ahead.
act as a warning to others and deter them from the committing similar crimes. That some years ago, India decided to introduce the penis. Actually, the system I not remember the further rape crime. Actually, I guess sorry for that. I not remember the actual name. The like yeah, I sorry. What is
Okay,
the
I'll
name?
answer to your
Yeah.
terrorist question. I'll elaborate your terrorist question. See, Dr. Ajit Doval, who is the right now the National Security National Security Advisor of India to the Prime Minister, few years ago he had clearly stated in a speech that terrorists are not born, they are made. If you look at terrorist organizations like Al Qaeda or any other terrorist organizations which is led by some other terrorist, he or she is the actual criminal. Those innocent kids who are just 10 or 15 years old, they are bribed from their home, they are given some money, they are given some occupation, and they are taught all the armory, they are taught all the tactics, what requires to kill some person. And then they are sent on a particular job in a particular city. If you look at Ajmal Kasab, if you have seen the movie The Attacks of 2611, in that clearly Nana Patekar, he doesn't hang him directly. He doesn't hang Ajmal Kasab directly. If you remember that movie, that was the actual story. I have a perfect example. So in that, he wasn't hanged directly as soon as he was caught. Firstly, Nana Patekar, who played the role of Mumbai Commissioner, he made him regret. He made him understand what jihad actually is, what Quran actually states. As soon as he regretted, as soon as he got, he was 19 or 20 years old when he was caught. So as soon as he regretted that, yes, I have murdered innocent people, he himself confessed the crime. So he wasn't a terrorist from the birth itself, the first day he was born. He was actually made a terrorist by other terrorists who were running organizations like Al Qaeda. So, firstly, Nana Patekar made him understand what jihad actually states, what the Holy Quran actually states, and then he was hanged. I'm not saying he wasn't hanged, he definitely was hanged. But before hanging, he was given or he was provided a rehabilitation in the prison itself, where he was, able to kind of change his thinking. If he would have been hanged directly the second day he caught, he wouldn't, I mean, while dying itself, he would have said Allahu Akbar in a very negative way. But while dying, he was saying Allahu Akbar in a peaceful way. That's the difference. So if you want to say, if you want to convert a person from an actual criminal to an innocent one, rehabilitation proves to be proves to be efficient rather than hanging him or her directly the next day he is caught. This was the perfect example. And if you look at African jails, as you stated, 30% of the African jails focus on cruel punishment. 30%. I'm not saying 100%, but 30% focus on cruel punishment. Do you know what's the punishment? Removing nails, the third degree punishment. Urinating on the prisoners. Okay, urinating on the prisoners, even though he or she has committed a theft, even though he or she has just done a certain crime like pocket picking, which is not even punishable. He or she is imprisoned for some couple of months, and the jailers over there, they urinate on the prisoners. They do whatever the third degree stuff with those innocent prisoners rather than rehabilitating them. So according to me, in these underdeveloped countries in African continent, definitely rehabilitation should be introduced so that people can actually understand how effective it is, rather than just hanging them or rather than just purely punishing them like urinating on them and stuff. So the 30% I'm talking.
I totally agree on that point, but still that I can't agree with you about
Okay,
the.
I have a prompt for team one. Like you have been constantly asking questions. So, team two, would you like to ask questions from team one?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I would like to ask some questions.
So
My first
after
question to my
Bakshi is saying something, so I interrupted him. Let him say
okay,
that, and you can then ask him.
okay,
Just I want to say that, like, if you say the stats, if you talk about the stats, then if you see the stats, that the sexual violence and the violence in which comes actually begins from the family, begins from the home. Okay, then if a human can do the offenses, can do the crimes with their close mates, with a knowing person, some of people uh, just doing rape for taking the revenge. Okay, and how can you justify this? The rehabilitation, how rehabilitation can justify this? That you have to punish them. No, that a person think that he have to take a revenge for on the girl's father and mother, and for that reason he have to do the rape with the girl. And is it really the way to do this? And how can you justify the acid attack? Okay, you just spoiled a someone's life for whole time. Whatever do, you can't pay back him. You can't change the situation. And how many times I can say that if the victim, how many times, how many years pain, if victim can never can uh, uh, back from the trauma he faced, he or she faced in the situation. So what is the point? Because in the severe crime, you have to introduce the punishment. That if you saw the data that the politics are more involved in that manner, like the panchayat and the system really involved in that manner. And any political leaders, son, yeah, daughters, and the relatives do the severe crimes, and they just for the concept and for this thing, they just uh,
yeah, I got your point.
the country and don't give the actual justice for the victim. It is the
I got your
it
point.
is really saddened.
Yeah. if you look at the, as I had already stated some time ago, in United Kingdoms, out of 1,83,000 sexual offences that had happened, 67 were not actually guilty. So what about those 67,000 criminals, who were imprisoned for no reason? First thing, so it clearly states that it's the responsibility of the judicial system to check it out first who has actually committed a crime. I agree that raping someone or molesting someone for taking revenge is obviously bad. But if you look at Dahmer series, even he had murdered 8 people just because he had to take revenge. But why was he taking revenge? Because at the age of 8, he was molested by his some relative, by his uncle or someone. If you look at this series, he was molested daily for some couple of months, and that's why in today's date, after 10 years, this trauma was irritating him, due to which he was murdering innocent people. I agree that he has murdered; he should definitely be punished. But firstly, make him understand what he has done. Firstly, rehabilitate him in the prison. Firstly, make him understand that what you have done is completely wrong. Let him regret that, yes, I have committed murder of 8 people, which is wrong. Let him understand that what molestation, what had happened with him childhood. Firstly, catch the criminal, catch the relative who had committed that crime. So if you look at the, according to the statistics, as I've already stated, 80% of the criminals have some reason. That might be any reason: alcohol, drug abuse, improper parenting, education, lack of employment. All these reasons contribute together. Criminals are never born. Nobody commits a crime on the first day of the birth itself. He or she is made a criminal by the circumstances. That's what happens with the terrorists. That's what happens with the rapist. That's what happens with each and every criminal. If a person is borrowing some money, if a person is robbing some bank, it might be due to his or her economical conditions, just to stabilize his or her family. So according to me, what he or she is doing is completely wrong. Earning money legally is obviously correct, but the reason why he or she is doing it is obviously correct. So first, listen to the reason, rehabilitate him, try to understand why he has done it, why he has done that, and then punish him whatever the legal justice, whatever the legal system of that country gives the punishment, instead of rather providing a third degree treatment on the first day they are caught, like urinating on them, removing their nails, and the stuff which is done in African continent and in many other countries as well, in India as well, to be honest. What was done with Kulbhushan Yadav and many other people, innocent people, Sarabjit as well. I just remembered a movie, Sarabjit, in which an innocent guy who just crossed the border, he just crossed the border. That was just a minute mistake from India to Pakistan. I agree that it's illegal. He should be jailed. He should be imprisoned for 2 years. But he was legit killed in the prison itself. If you look at the movie, the way he was tortured, the stuff that was done with him by the Pakistani, soldiers, by the Pakistani inspectors, that was really frustrating. I couldn't sleep for 2 days when I had seen that movie, just for crossing a border. If you are doing such stuff with that innocent guy, he was not a terrorist, he was not some raw agent or something like that. He was a farmer working in Punjab. He had just crossed the boundary. He had just crossed the border, and he was directly punished without even listening. That's where my point, rehabilitation, comes in. Firstly, listen, try to care for him, and I'm pretty sure that at least 70% of the criminals, if they are treated in a compassionate way in the prison itself for some number of years, they'll themselves commit the crime, and they'll themselves hang themselves, and they'll regret what they had done. So I think here rehabilitation proves to be important. And I think I should ask questions, right, Samriddhi?
Actually, I
No, let me
can
ask
agree
You
questions.
on
may
My questions are
start
still
asking
pending.
questions
yes,
because the time is less. So I
okay.
would urge the team one to ask questions.
Yeah,
Like
my
team
first
two to
question to
ask
my
questions. Sorry.
sorry, thank you. My first question to my very well learned opponent, Bakshi. Some countries like Norway and China have adopted rehabilitation as their main form of criminal justice, main form. So, why do you think these developed countries are focusing more on rehabilitation than just giving random punishment?
Sorry, I can't listen to your question properly. Please repeat
I'll,
for
I'll,
me.
I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it. If you look at countries like Norway and China, am I audible clearly?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So if you look at countries like Norway and China, they have adopted rehabilitation as the main form of criminal justice. The main form. The prisoners, the criminals are first rehabilitated, then they are given the punishment, whatever the legal justice says. So why do you think these two countries and many other such countries, I just have these two examples with me right now. So why do you think such developed countries have adopted rehabilitation as their main form of criminal justice rather than just giving punishment?
Okay. Firstly, came to China. I don't think it is the proper example to present. So you also know that the political system, how works that, and it is really in the pen and paper. But the thing is, the for the little crime, they punish very harshly. You know that, and secondly, why they adopt? I I I can't deny that in the sum of case that related to murder and what related to the actually the listening the opinion is really important for the every parties, but the some of areas like the murder and the some of crimes and obviously the what is not criminal offenses, the civil offenses, there is really needed. But the heinous criminal offenses, we have to think that we have to seek on the severe punishment, and from that we can send a message for the society, and we can create a fear. Obviously, fear is important. Some at the sum of the point, at the end of the point, that you have to create a fear that if you do that, you have to punish too harshly. You have to punish like that. In China also, after the rape, there is the actual rule is the for not hanging is obviously the hanging and or brutal some punishment. In Saudi also, for the rape, they just shoot the man. So for the heinous crime, you have to introduce the heinous punishment. But you have to listen everybody's opinion. It is obviously right. Actually, for that, you also mentioned that the mental condition also, the situation also, and the murder thing and the relation uh, and obviously the civil thing. Then you can do the rehabilitation, but the severe crime you have to introduce the severe punishment.
Yeah, but contradicting to your answer, if you look at Norway statistics, I have some statistics with me right now. After Norway introduced this rehabilitation system in the country, there was 20% drop in recidivism. Okay, and reoffending rates as well. That means when the criminals were released after the punishment, after the span, just because they were rehabilitated, just because they were made understand what they had actually done in their past, they, the rate of reoffending was reduced to 20% after the introduction of rehabilitation system in Norway. And talking about China, even China has introduced this same judicial system just like Norway. And adding one more statistics to contradict you, if you look at USA, United States of America, which I think is one of the most developed and one of the most strongest, which has one of the most strongest judicial systems in the entire world, before 1970 in USA, the judicial systems were focusing more on rehabilitation. And before 1970, when they were focusing more on rehabilitation, the reoffending rate, the recidivism rate was 33%. It was 33% before. I mean, when they had rehabilitation introduced in the prisons. But after 1970, as soon as they started directly punishing the criminals rather than listening to them, rather than trying to even rehabilitate them, the rate 33% drastically increased to 47%. That means almost half of the prisoners, when they were released from the jail, they were again committing the same crime. That's what happened with Dahmer. Dahmer was a serial killer in 1990. He was one of the exceptional cases where he was properly rehabilitated. That's why he confessed his crime and he hanged himself. He actually agreed for the punishment whatever the US judicial system gave him. He was hanged clearly in the judicial system, but he regretted on what he did. Instead of just directly hanging him, if you had hanged Dahmer at the first day he was caught, he wouldn't have regretted what he had done. He would have passed out as a criminal soul itself. The mindset that he had, murdering innocent people, that mindset would definitely have been inculcated in him. But that mindset was changed by the US rehabilitation, thing. And he was the exception because after 1970, very, like you can count it on fingers, very less amount of criminals were actually rehabilitated in USA. Before 1970, many were rehabilitated depending upon the crime, and hence the reoffending rate was 33%, but afterwards it increased to 47%, which I think definitely is clearly proving us that rehabilitation in these cases is definitely more effective as compared to direct punishment.
I totally agree with you in some point, but rehabilitation is needed. But at some point, you can't mix the normal crime and the severe crime. I want to talk about that. You have to specify the severe crimes. You can't change the society's mentality. You can look on the India's social structure and the social system also. You can look on the actually the woman empowerment and your home also. That if you caught anyone to do some uh, like for the brutal mentality and you try to taught them it is not right, they can justify this with the thousand reasons and thousand reasons. You can give lots of reasons that it is not okay. They also are human, but they can justify that they are made for them, and you can't change these things in one day. You can't change this thing to rehabilitate one person. You have to change those things in massly. Obviously you have to spread the education. Obviously you have to educate the family and say that there is everyone is equal, and committing this type of severe crime is really wrong, and why you have to spread this. But but still, if you don't introduce the strongest punishment, you can't justify why this is not okay. There is a
I definitely agree with you.
morality issue, and you can't change these things one day to rehabilitate one person. You sometimes punishment is really needed to send the message to the whole community that it is not okay. If you do this, you have to punish like that, and if you do this, your situation will like that. But if you try to rehabilitate, then it is clearly you say you send a signal that, like, if you do this, like from many of the criminals comes from the poor economical background. You was stuck that the prison is more more comfortable for them to spending day in the out of this prison. You can listen and you can read many of articles in the newspaper. So how you can justify
No, I definitely agree with you here. I agree with you that some
So
crimes
first
are to
of
be
all,
punished. I definitely agree.
uh,
well,
Sorry,
both the teams, I would like to say that the time for the round three, that is cross-examination, is over. So
but
we
just
would be
15 seconds if you could give me. I just need to add one more statement. Only one
okay,
statement.
that's the last statement. You have been granted 15
Contradicting
seconds.
to my very well learned opponent's statement, I would just like to say nobody is born a criminal. He or she is made a criminal by the circumstances. So, first, improve the circumstances around him or her, make him understand what he has committed by rehabilitation, and then give the necessary punishment. So, I think definitely rehabilitation is a bit more important as compared to giving direct punishment without even listening to his or her thoughts. That's all. Thank
Uh,
you.
so, okay, just for this, I just want to say for 10 seconds, just that the states not work like that. The state have two parts. The another is one is that you have to introduce the education, you have to educate people, and other is you have to deal with the present situation also. So you have to maintain balance in two pattern. So there is time, there is situation, so you have to deal with the two things. So you can't say that if you introduce the rehabilitation full phase, then you can fix everything. It is the thing.
I agree with you. But if you look at the prisons where
Okay,
rehabilitation
okay,
is
we
not
are done
present,
here.
the
And Krishna,
Homicide
we are
rate is
done here. Uh,
okay. No,
please
you allowed
stop,
him to
and
speak because I was the last one to spoke, but still okay.
we would move forward to the round four, that is the closing statement round. So, team one, okay, team two, would you like to present your closing statement?
Okay.
Alok,
After
would you
the
like to move? Yes. Okay.
yeah, can you
Okay,
repeat again?
no, team two, please start.
Okay. After deliberating all the arguments, we think our team has been able to present our case and prove that rehabilitation should be the way forward. I would conclude in 2 points. First, society. Rehabilitation is first and foremost for the betterment of society. As Jeremy Bentham said in his utilitarian concept, greater good for the greater number of people. So, if we put focus on rehabilitation, the possibility of the person to commit crime again after release also drops. It is the need for our prison system to shift its focus from punishment to rehabilitation. It is a principle that lies at the core of a just and compassionate society. The goal should not merely be to lock individuals away, but rather to provide them with the tools necessary to reintegrate into society as law abiding citizens. As Nelson Mandela once said, it is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jail. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizen, but its lowest one. Secondly, on the part of criminal. If you look also from the humanitarian perspective, rigorous punishment is a kind of barbaric on our side, on the side of the society, and it's outdated. Now we should look at different forms of punishment and in ever increasing conversation about mental health around the world. It's important that we keep our humanity alive and give them a chance to change and integrate in the society. Also adding to a point that Bakshi said about Saudi Arabia that after a crime of rape, they shoots the person. It's like that the Bakshi is trying to present that we should follow the Talibani style of justice system where they hang on the street, they kill on the street, and that not should be accepted in this liberal libertarian world. In conclusion, punishment alone does not address the underlying factors that lead individuals astray. By investigating in effective rehabilitation program, we have the opportunity to reshape lives, prevent future crimes, and foster a safer society. As Victor Hugo said, he who opens a school door closes a prison. Thank you very much.
Very well presented statements. So, team one, Chill, would you like to present your closing statement?
Okay, so I would like my closing statement like this that yes, it is said that we have to rehabilitate people's. Okay, we believe that, but rehabilitation is done before is done after the crime. So we have to first of all fix. So can I need to? Can I use 2 minutes? Just
Okay, granted. You have a few seconds.
okay. I would like to say. So yes, I am. I want to say that the strict punishments are, according to me, the strict punishments are the only thing that we can portray to the our future generation that you can, if you do such things, you will get that type of punishment. For example, in Afghanistan, Israel or sorry to interrupt, Israel or Iran, I think both of the countries, the rape cases due to the rape cases due to hanging, direct hanging, without any execution protocols or something. Due to that, the rape cases over there are less than India itself. Here, in India, happens that we will give the max, the penal, sorry, what do I say? Capital sentence is only given in the rare cases. In India, also, when someone gets raped. There are procedures in rape cases when someone is sorry is said that he raped someone. It is only he will only given the death sentence when it will be proved that the victim is dead. It is said that when the victim is dead, then only the criminal will be convicted to death. What is this? I strongly not believe in this, because in India also when someone gets raped to someone, we give 7 years of imprisonment. Okay, then after that we will get him out. What is this? A 7 year imprisonment if the evidences to the victim are strictly proved that he is actually raped. If not, if there is a partially rape, then he will come out fully. My voice is breaking, I think. Okay, so that's it. Or I want to say that I do not favor that rehabilitation will actually fix, because we have to show a mark that if you will do such crime, you will get affected by that. Because people over here just chilling in the jails like they are nothing, and they are coming out after 6 to 7 months, 6 to 7 years by putting bails to the, because they are some sort of politicians or big peoples. They are coming out of jail for nothing. And it is said that we will rehabilitate. See, for example, if you are asking me some questions, I will say that if there is an interview, obviously I will give my best of me. If you will ask me question, I will give my best person. Why would I say that no, I want to kill you? Why someone will say that I want to kill you right now? Intent, inner way, he want to kill you, but he will not say. They are a mastermind, they are a serial killers. Looking at them, you will never get to know that they are a killer, because they are smart, brilliant. They will put your eye contact in your eyes. They will never let you know that they want to kill you or do something bad to you. They will never do that. Rehabilitation is just an excuse, according to me, just an excuse that you can chill for 2 to 3 months. Then you will get unattached by the society. At the end, you will accept that yes, death is the only thing you can get, so you can kill. So if at the end we are killing the people, why should we put in and spend our money in rehabilitations? Okay, at the end, sorry, time is a limit. So I want to say that Avyaktadani, it is a verse from Bhagavad Gita itself, chapter 2, verse 28. Avyaktadani bhutani vyakt madhyani bharata avyakt midyani eva tatra ka parivadana. Here Arjuna, here Lord Krishna himself says to Arjuna, if someone here all created beings are unmanifested their beginning, manifest in their intern state, and unmanifested again when they are annihilated. So what we need to do for lamentations? What to cry for them? Just kill them. Obviously Duryodhana was not the good person. We have to kill sad peoples. Okay, thank you, that's it.
Your statement was very well presented. Now we would be moving to our fifth round, that is
No,
audience
I
Q&A.
think all of the three are supposed to present an ending statement, right?
Not necessarily.
But
Okay.
we all are.
They have paid
But the
their
rules that
part.
were stated before, according
Yes,
to that, we have already prepared our ending statement. So
yes. And in previous debate, we also spoke
exactly.
all the three
So I think
persons.
we should give an
You
at least
can restrict
individual.
the time actually then, but
Yeah, the
One
limit is
minute.
2 minutes.
What is the question first of all? Team two has some query. Let me clear that out.
All the
We have to give
persons
our
in the
ending
debate.
statement. We have prepared
I
our ending
not
statement.
You
about
have
the
given
flow.
your ending statement. First of all, you have given your ending statement. That has
But
been
the rules
done.
that were
Now we
stated
have.
earlier, they clearly stated that all
Every
of the three are
individual,
supposed to give an ending statement. So you can't just
every
move back from your
individual.
rule.
Yes.
Oh, all the three have to give. Okay. So you would like to say the ending statement.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have time issue, you can limit the time, but I
Yeah,
guess
if you have
you
time
have.
issue, we can finish it in 1 minute if you want to. The ending
Uh,
statement individually.
I can say you can limit the time, but give chance everyone is.
Okay. All right. So team one, it's your turn now. I mean,
Yes.
team two, it's your turn now.
Yes. So at the last, I want to say rehabilitation is more important than punishment, because it is not only addresses the wrongdoing of the individual but also work towards the preventing future harm by the providing them the necessary tools and support to become a productive and a law-abiding person of the society. Punishment may deter crime for a short term, but rehabilitation has the potential to create lasting impact on the individuals and the society as a whole, addressing the root causes of the criminal behavior. Rather than simply punishing individuals for their actions, rehabilitation offers opportunity for personal growth and transformation, ultimately leads to a more productive and fulfillment of life. Punishment may satisfy the desire of justice, but rehabilitation satisfies the need of healing and restoration, allowing individuals to move forward from their mistakes and contribute positively to society. Rehabilitation recognizes the inherent worth and potential for the change in individual, while punishment operates under the assumption that individuals are inherently bad and deserve to be punished. And last, that he Purendra said that Duryodhan is punished. First of all, he is rehabilitated by the Krishna. Then only he is punished. So first, rehabilitation is more important thing, so that the person can improve him. That is what I want to say.
All right. Now, team one, Bakshi, do you have anything to present in the closing statement?
Hello. Uh, it is a
Okay.
nice debate actually, and in the end, I want to say very shortly that I can't deny that the rehabilitation is not important, but the thing is, you have to draw the line where you need rehabilitation and where you need the punishment. Okay, the first thing. And after rehabilitation, you have to ensure that you have to give punishment and that same thing I repeat that you have to draw a line that what is the severe cases and what is the normal cases. It is not actually normal, but you have to draw a line like that, and it may be vary to situation, but the thing is, you can't ignore the punishment. You have to introduce the punishment and the strictest punishment. It is the more important that the NDA government approved the death sentence for the any kind of rape and gang rape and child abuse is death sentence, and I think it is the best decision for the some crime is no mercy. You have to think and you have to accept this. There is no mercy for some heinous crime. Um, Rabindranath Tagore once said that in Bengali actually, বিচারের বাণী নীরবে নিভৃতে কাঁদে. The translate is that the word of judgment cries out in silence. So we we have to think that if we introduce the rehabilitation all overly, then maybe we can go for those type of society there the no respect and actually the no value for the judgment words. So you have to establish the judgment was the quick judgment. In India also that after the crime is the second day there is no punishment. So the lots of delay you have to fix this, and you have to introduce the strictest punishment if you, what you can. Thank you.
Okay, now Kingfisher, do you have your
Yeah, I
closing
do have a
statement?
ending statement.
Please present
Starting
it.
with my ending statement in conclusion, as am I audible firstly,
Yeah,
clearly?
you are.
Yeah, thank you. In conclusion, as I've already stated, many statistics, and as it has already been proven, the main cause behind rehabilitation is behind a person committing crime is drug abuse, where 80% of the inmates, prisoners, are victims of drug abuse. Poverty, where 23% of the inmates commit the crime just for money. Absent or bad parenting, where 10 to 16 aged US teens commit a crime just due to the absence of parenting. 9% of European criminals have diseases like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and many other diseases due to which they commit a crime, but still they are not given proper facilities in the prison to treat their disorder. And if you look at the African countries, 50% of the prisoners are illiterate. That is, they are not provided a proper education. So if they're not provided a proper education in the childhood itself, obviously a criminal will automatically be born due to the lack of facilities. Taking all this as one and concluding, it is crucial for prisons to shift their focus from just giving punishments to rehabilitation, providing inmates with education, job training, mental health, additional treatment, and other resources which are necessary for development of the mindset, which hasn't been developed due to the lack of the facilities, as I have already stated. So it is the time for us to recognize that investing in rehabilitation is as smart is a smart and a compassionate approach, and it will definitely prove to be fruitful. Thank you. That's all.
Well, that summarizes the end of our closing statement round. We would now move to the audience Q&A. If our audience has any questions, they may ask to the participants.
Yeah, I would like to answer that. The question from Surya. Am I
Okay.
audible?
Yeah, sure. You
Okay.
are.
So I would like to answer it in 3 points. The first, the person who are committing crime statistically, they are also the homeless poor people who are also committing crime for the money. The second point I want to present is that it's an investment that the government is making. So you can always argue that the government should invest money in this thing or this thing, but if they are rehabilitated and they become the productive member of the society, they can always give back to the society the investment that the government is making in them. And the third thing I want to present is that government always spend on prisoners. If the government, if the court provides a rigorous punishment, the criminals would have to be put in an empty cell. That costs a lot of money. If they are grouped together, rehabilitated together, that would cost a lot of less money. So if they get rigorous punishment, so government would have to spend more. If the government moves toward rehabilitation, then the same fund can be allocated from that rigorous punishment part to this rehabilitation part. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Adding to the answer, adding to the question as well, as the question is for team 2, even I can answer. It's not like a personal question, only Alok can answer. So adding a few more points, government is responsible according to me to do anything in the country if they have a certain budget, for teenagers or for adults, for the development of the mindset, so that less and less crimes will be committed. For example, employment, for example, proper education. That budget should be equally distributed, 50% here and 50% there, to properly inculcate the good thinking. The prisoners or the criminals who had committed a crime in the past, who are right now residing in the prison, even 50% of the budget should be handed over to them, to the prisons, so that those prisoners who are or who committed the crime due to the innocence they have, they should be treated properly. They should be made understand what crime they have committed, so that they regret and then they confess the actual crime. Because according to me, as I have already said, regret is the biggest punishment for any criminal. And the rest 50% budget can be automatically diverted to homeless and impoverished individuals who are lying on the streets, so that those teens or those youngsters don't commit a crime in the upcoming future. If we distribute the budget, if government distributes the budget 50-50 in both of the things, according to me, almost 70 to 80% of the criminals or the reoffending rate, as I have already stated, will soon after some days will reduce to as zero, as less as 0%, according to me. So that's what my answer to Surya's question is.
Okay. So I hope that your question has been answered, Surya. Rashmi has a question.
I want to answer this.
All right, go ahead.
Wait a second. Yeah. Process trial and placement. I'm sorry if team 2 wants to answer first, they can. After that, I if team 2 wants first, they can.
Is the
We have to
question
answer
for which
Rashmi's
team?
question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this question team one should answer first because it's related to them. Then we will conclude if we want to.
Okay. Okay, second.
Okay, I will answer it. Just a minute.
Yes. See, if you want, you can. Okay. Uh, Yeah. For the in prison crimes, I guess there is
Yeah.
lots of acts actually for the in prison crimes. We know that there is crime in murder and obviously male and male rape and this type of crimes. And that the for that reason, the punishment is important for the certain moment, the certain point. You can't say that the rehabilitation is the supreme thing. Yeah, it is. You can introduce the wholly because at a point the everything is important. Like that punishment is also important. That yes, not only the imprison thing. After the actually the mm, after the over the punishment they are free, and after rehabilitate also they commit the crimes many of times. So uh, I can say the situation basis, the crime basis punishment is needed for situation and crimes.
Okay, so I want to speak.
I would like to add in this. I'm from team 2 that actually this question proves our point. The first thing is when a person or criminal is imprisoned, the mentality of the crime doesn't go away. If the what is imprisonment itself? Their environment is confined, that they cannot go outside from a room or go outside from a compound, that the jail itself. So that mentality needs to be reduced from the society, and that can be done from the rehabilitation itself. And this thing that the prison staff hold responsibility, yeah, I think so. Even you can see in the example of criminal justice, and if not take example of a series which is fictional, you can take any example from those who became big criminals. You can find many such examples in UP, in Bihar, in many parts of the India, that once a small criminal goes to the jail, they become more hardened when they are released after 2 years, after 5 years, and they become bigger criminals. So this question itself goes on to prove our point that rehabilitation is necessary, because it reduces that criminal mentality, and it reduces it reduces recidivism when the criminal is paroled or left out in this world after their jail term is over.
But
Okay, so I also want
I
to.
don't want to contradict there, but I guess
Okay,
my
okay, wait.
opponent member
Our
like
team is speaking.
the
Our team is
Okay.
Okay, let him
So
speak. Let.
let Bakshi speak first, then you may go after him, Aditya.
I okay. I don't want to the contradict in that, but I guess you just mixed up the things you say. I just want to say that like in prison rehabilitation is also possible. These things also possible. Yeah, obviously the guards and prison guards are responsible for those things, but for those reasons, not only the rehabilitation is a solution. You have to think. Obviously, you have to change the system and the change the environment, but a certain time punishment is needed. It is the basic thing.
Okay, Aditya, do you have to add anything to that?
yes, yes. Actually, possible is everything is possible. So I want to say that prison are actually dangerous for the inmates. And according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2018, around 13,500 people are sexually assaulted only because they are in the prisons with the dangerous criminals. and out of those criminals in the jail, 60 to 70% are those who has committed non-serious crimes, non-violent crimes. So with being with those criminals who perform the serious crimes, they also become their mentality also become like that, and they also face the issues staying with these guys. So I think it is very dangerous to stay in prison, and prison is a different thing, and and rehabilitation center is different thing. Rehabilitation is not possible in prison itself. So this is what I want to say.
Yeah, and I would like to add a few points here. Taking reference from the series Criminal Justice Season 1, as I have already stated. Just imagine a random guy who is, let's just say, 25 years old from an economically weaker section, answering to Rashmi's question, who is from economically weaker section. He or she needs an urgent money, and he or she robs a bank. I agree that he or she is wrong over here, but his situation is forcing him to commit that crime. His situation is forcing him to rob that bank. He has robbed it. The judicial system of that country has imprisoned him for the lifetime, because if you look at the judicial system of Africa, they do imprison a guy, although he has committed a very innocent crime, for the entire lifetime. They torture him over there. They give him third degree torture. So if the same guy who was imprisoned, who robbed the bank and was imprisoned for his entire lifetime, enters in a jail where we have rapists, where we have murderers, where we have such other dreaded criminals like terrorists, he will get automatically involved in this group where surrounding is consisting of such dreaded criminals. He will himself turn out to be a criminal, and that is clearly stated in Criminal Justice Season 1, where we can clearly see why rehabilitation is important. So if those murderers who are already present in the jail, if just in case right now, even after being in jail, they have been in jail since 10 years, but then too they are criminal, they have that criminal mindset embedded in their mind because they were not rehabilitated in the starting. So if rehabilitation is introduced, the prisoners or the criminals who are already in the jail, I'm not talking about that innocent guy who had robbed the bank, I'm talking about those rapists and murderers who are already in the jail, they will improve their thinking. And talking about that innocent guy, here, firstly, the judicial system of that respective country is wrong to imprison him for the whole lifetime just for robbing a bank. Secondly, if he enters a prison just for at least, say, 10 years for robbing a bank, if he gets inculcated among such people who have been rehabilitated properly, even though the person who has been rehabilitated, the old criminal, he or she is a rapist, but as he or she has been rehabilitated, the thinking he has in his mind definitely has been improved. If it doesn't, he or she should be punished. But if the thinking has been developed, that innocent guy who robbed the bank will get inculcated, will get involved in such an amazing group, and automatically he will improve his thinking of mind, and he will automatically learn some new things, learn some new work in those 10 years, and after he comes out from the jail, he can start a new life ahead. That's what rehabilitation, that's where rehabilitation comes in. If you directly punish a criminal, nothing is going to happen, nothing. You should at least firstly listen to him. I agree that some crimes are not, I mean, they shouldn't be like they are punishable. I agree that some crimes are punishable, for sure they are punishable, but firstly try to listen to them. Keep them in the separate corner of a prison where the rehabilitation, where they have separate rehabilitation center, where they have different psychiatrists, where they are treated properly, the same way like Ajmal Kasab was treated in 2008 attacks. And if they are treated properly, I'm sure in just some couple of years, at least 60 to 70% of those dreaded criminals will themselves accept and confess that yes, I am a criminal, and they'll themselves hang. I can assure on this thing. So here's where rehabilitation comes in, according to me.
Okay, I also want to answer the question of Rashmi. So yes, in India itself, the most dreaded criminals are put in the separate jail, which is named as Kala Pani jail, and also in USA there is also a jail which is known as United States Penitentiary, where the most wanted criminals are shifted over there. Yes, you are saying that crimes inside the jail. Yes, I agree with that. So the crime inside the jail, it's so the point here is we will give them a strict punishment. Okay, so we will suppose if someone is a very bad criminals, so we will push. We already put them in a different jails. Yes, we already put them in a different. And the point of rehabilitation comes over here that if we put them in rehabilitations, yes, already I have given example. For example, you are asking me something. I will the criminals will give you the answer what you want. Why will give the answer what they did? For example, there is a center, rehabilitation center is built. If it is a rule that if you will pass this rehabilitation center test, then you will come out of the jail or something, or you will die over there. So without so at the end they have to agree with the rehabilitation center test. At the end they have to die, they will die. For example, if they have to come out, they will lie, obviously. It's an obvious thing, they will lie. They will lie that okay, I am okay, I am not feeling any bad thing, my mental state is proper, everything is proper. Now I can fix everything. Now I agree that I killed them, but I am also guilty about that I killed them, and they will come out again, they will kill them. It is the case. There are many cases which the people came out and killed them. So rehabilitation might be the few of them, as a king is already saying that he is predicting the thing, predicting that 60-70% of people might come out like this. If some terrorist is get caught, in their mentality already that they are fixed that they will put a bomb, they will lie to you. Obvious thing, they will lie to you, that you will agree with them, that they will lie that yes, I am okay, Jai Mata Di, I am okay, yes, I will not bomb you again, that's it. At the end they will come out and then bomb again. Here comes the parenting. Okay, I agree with that. If we have to parenting, if we have a proper parenting, if someone is orphan, what should we do? We should put in a orphanage, or we should open a or we should open a separate rehabilitation center for the kids. Okay, you just imagine, we have to open an orphanage or a rehabilitation center, and also they are saying that the parenting is wrong. If the parenting is not, so we should not grow up our kids, we send them to rehabilitation centers. Go grow over there because we are bad parents, because we drug addicts and we are bad parents. So you go over there, live in a hostels, and some sort of hostels or rehabilitation center, we will put you over there. That's it. And yes,
Yeah,
the prison thing, okay, I agree with that. Thank you.
yeah. I'd like to add a point to
Justify.
Rashmi's question.
Hello.
Tamajit, go ahead. Tamajit, go ahead.
First of all of you have answered Rashmi's question, like even I,
But I have to add
everyone
one more
has.
point, just one single point, a statistics which I just remembered, which I had read last night. So I would just like to include that as well. But Tamajit, if you want, you can continue. Okay,
I
I'll
just
continue.
want to say, that my previous member mentioned that punishment means the maximum punishment. Punishment does not mean
First of
the
all,
maximum
you are
punishment.
not, Tamajit, you are not allowed to
Okay,
counter.
okay, okay. So I
I
simplify
think the
that.
round is over, everyone given the answer. Okay.
Okay, I just simplify that. The about the rehabilitation center, about the punishment, and from the Rashmi's question, I want to say that there is a in if you say the constitution, and if you see the constitution and the penal code, there is a lots of suggestion and the punishment criteria. Okay, the year basis, and the for the severe crime and for the normal thing of crime, there is separate jails, separate areas, and separate cells also. So we can manage those things like that. So yeah, not only the no, not only the providing the rehabilitation can fix everything. You have to punish in a certain point, and punishment not means that the hang someone, yeah, given the maximum punishment. Punishment can divide in year basis, and the crime depends on the crime year and situation. Obviously obviously the state of the criminal depends on that. And for from that, so I suggest that for those things, prison member have to aware on those type of issues. And if those type of things happens, then obviously they have to take the strict action they can.
Yeah, adding a few more points to Rashmi's answer. If you look at the countries where rehabilitation centers are not present in the prison or around the prison, like India, for example, the rate, the percentage of the in-prison crimes, as Rashmi asked, is close to 22%. Okay, the rate. Okay, the rate of the people, the imprisoners committing the in-person crime is close to 22%. If you look at the countries where rehabilitation centers are introduced properly, like China, like French jails, if you look at Norwegian jails, the rate is as low as 4%. So this is clearly stating, these statistics are proved. So this is clearly stating that the prisons where we have rehabilitation centers, where we have health improvement sectors, where we have mental health improvement sections, where we have work providing sections, where we have educational sections inside the prison itself or around the prison, the in prison crime, as Rashmi asked, I think are as low as we can see in the Norwegian and French jails, which we cannot clearly see in African jails or Indian jails where the criminals are directly hanged, or where the criminals are open left out, or where the criminals are not even treated properly. They're not even provided proper facilities, which can be seen in many movies and many web series. If you look at the Indian jails, and adding one more point, if you look at according to lordslibrary.com, there is a website named as lordslibrary.com. So according to that website, the homicides in USA have increased by 14% in December 2021. Homicides, that means collective suicide in the jail itself, have been increased by 14%, 14% in USA, where rehabilitation centers are not there. But if you look at Norwegian jails, the rate of homicide, where the rate of homicide in USA is 14%, the rate of homicide in Norwegian jails is as low as 0%. Nobody commits a suicide because each and every criminal there, although he or she is punished, he or she must be punished, but he or she is getting proper food facilities, proper educational facilities, proper health facilities, proper mental health facilities, which I think is the most important, as I've already stated, the types of rehabilitation. So the rate where in USA, the rate of homicide has increased by 14%. In Norwegian jails, it's as low as 0%. So this is clearly stating how rehabilitation centers can prove to be fruitful in the prison, which is not clearly seen in Indian jails, in African jails, in US jails. And I mean, yeah, that's what my answer is.
Do you guys have any more questions? No more questions? All right, that concludes our audience Q&A round. And you guys did brilliant, each of you, all six of you, though one is not present here. So I would first declare the winner and then go on to tell your individual points, like the strong points and your flaws. So uh, the the team two is the winner of today's debate.
And what
Overall,
team 2 and team 1 actually is?
team two is your team.
Okay, got it.
So team two is the winner. Alu, Aditya, and Ayush. You guys did the overall. You really did well. So that concludes today's event, and I will tell your individual points later, like after this. So
Yeah,
thank
for sure.
you, all of
And
you,
I would just like
for
to say
being
well played,
present here.
Abakshi, Chill, and the opponents, Alon Musk as well, and my teammates, of course, Aditya and Alok. Well played, guys. Really amazing. Well played.
Bro, I would say that you all three were just slaying. I didn't imagine that Patrick or Alok will speak that much because they were also giving the lots of content. You were giving it's fine. You were also giving lots of content.